I've got hello, everybody. I am really challenged by the way this all starts now. It's slightly different. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Angel Heart Radio. I'm Annette McCoy, and it gives me great pleasure to be with you this morning. And I'm absolutely delighted because, of course, as usual, at this time of the month, here is Marney Perna, our resident kinesiologist. Marney is an author, a speaker, you name it, Marney does it, always with a smile on her face. Welcome, Marney.
Thank you, Annette. Welcome to you as well. It's amazing how quickly this month comes along, isn't it?
Unbelievable. Yes, indeed. So here we are, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation today because it's really easy to let ourselves slip down the scale. You know, if somebody asks us to do something, invariably we go, yeah, I can do that, and things pile up. Where is our self in all of that? How do you feel about that, Marnie?
I'm very passionate about caring for the carers, because carers, for whatever reason they're caring and who they're caring for, put that person or that organisation or whatever first always. And the one that pays at the end, if you don't care for the carer yourself, is your health. So you have to be very careful about how do you keep your bucket of life energy filled so that you've got the capacity to cope if some health challenge comes along for you. Because invariably it will eventually, especially if you slow down suddenly. You know, do you remember when you worked and you were madly busy for the leading up to a holiday, and then day one of the holiday you get sick? You go, what? How can this happen? It's because your body said, okay, I'm waiting for you to have a break. I understand that you're busy at the moment and I'm supporting you, but as soon as you slow down or have a rest, that's when you've got to pay back your deficit. And you'll get sick.
Yes, you see, how often do we keep going, and then you're right, when a holiday comes, sometimes people fall in a heap because, and yet that holiday is so well anticipated, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. But it's only it's again going back to our old fellow, you know, Henry, the stress bucket, and Eliza, your life energy. If Henry is getting so filled up with your busyness, and busyness is a form of stress. Busy people constantly say how busy they are and constantly add to their busyness. And it is a form of stress. I call it invisible stress because you don't usually acknowledge it or understand it. But that stress will build up as easily as any other environmental or personal stress, and there will be a health deficit at the end of that little run on stress. So just remember, it's not an infinite capacity that you can cope with stress. It has a finite end. And that finite end is usually something little. And it could be as simple as day one of your holiday. Well, that shouldn't be a stress, but it's the plug that unleashes what you've got to do about caring for self.
Right, because we tend to cope with the big things, you're right, and then it's the straw that breaks the camel's back, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. I've done quite a lot of talks to carer groups because predominantly they're people that have put their life virtually on hold to care for a relation or someone. And instead of valuing their free time, so I know a number of people that, you know, are really, really busy caring, and then they get that one day off a fortnight, and instead of staying in bed and pulling up the doona covers and just having a self-healing day, they fit in the doctor's visits for the other person. They fit in the bank appointments. They fit in all that other stuff because you're not carrying that extra person with you like you can do it singly. So you tend to do it, but you rarely will book a movie. You'll rarely book, as I said, a sleep in. You might book a hairdressing appointment because you've reached the end and you really need one, but not because it's enjoyable, because the whole time you're sitting there wondering about what else you have to do. So as a carer of any kind, you need to value yourself, and you need to put yourself in a position of first on at least once a fortnight occasion without guilt.
Well, We have several people joining us, which is lovely. Welcome, Elaine. Welcome, Darlene, who must be overseas because she said good evening. So
all right.
Welcome, Darlene. I wonder where you are from. And welcome to Mary and Massa and to Amy.
Hello, everyone. This is exciting.
It is. Amy's saying those days off are never days off. There's always a list of things that have fallen behind and need attention. And of course,
they do, but the priority on that list is self.
Yes, must be at the top.
Yep.
Marianne is in PSA, in an aged care home.
Oh,
Guilty,
okay.
she says.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's very important to care for yourself. Now, it doesn't mean you have to spend your whole day at the movies. What it means is there has to be one appointment. So if you've got a lot of things in backlog and you're running with an appointment book, say you've got your diary out and there's lots of things that you have to do that day, because it's easier to do it on a day when you're not caring for someone else. And I totally understand. I'm a carer myself. You've also got to factor into that day of things running behind is self-care. Now, it could be make an appointment, give yourself a 1 hour or 1.5 hour time slot to go and have coffee with someone that's not part of your appointments, so to speak. So it's pleasurable. It's someone that you can kind of not vent with, because it's not about venting, but being able to share the load a little bit or release some of the build-up that you're building. Because honestly, I totally, and Annette was the same. She cared as well. And I know how consuming being a carer is. And it's not that you don't love doing it. It's got nothing about, your care capacity or kindness or the love you have or the sometimes unlove you have for the person you're caring for. I often say I love, at the moment it's my dad. I love my dad, but I don't often like him. And that's totally okay, because, dementia's starting to kick in a little bit there, and those stronger guttural kind of traits are showing through more so than the softer, gentler. And there's times where it's not the easiest job in the world, and it's usually unpaid as well. It's the other thing about being a carer. You generally are doing it out of the goodness of your heart, or because it's a commitment that you've made, and all of those are great reasons. But remember self. It is highly important.
Now, more people have joined us. We have, Darlene's from Nova Scotia in Canada.
Oh, hello.
And we have Chrissy, and she's all the way from Trinidad. Good evening,
wow.
Chrissy.
A global network of listeners today. How delightful.
Yeah, isn't it wonderful? Now, Amy also follows up on what you were saying, Marney. Goodness me, maybe I've been doing too much. And so when you said, put something in your diary, that's a really good hint, because Amy says you need to tell everyone that this is what you are going to do, or else they will ask for that time. The thing is, if we've put that time in for ourselves, it's non-negotiable.
Yeah, it has to be non-negotiable. You have to value yourself. Now, as I said, they don't need to be huge things. They can be what makes your heart sing. Do you really enjoy a bubble bath? So go and have a bubble bath. If it's in the daytime, see if you can close the blinds, put a beautiful scented candle on, and enjoy. You can still put a timer on that. Just make it more than 5 minutes. So put a timer on that, so you still can be contacted, or when the end of that time is there. But thoroughly enjoy it. And just think, negativity has some great bedfellows. So as soon as you start being negative, his friendship group comes visiting. All right, and they're going to have a party at your expense. So what you need to be doing is having that bath, or whatever you're doing, guilt-free. So this is the blessing in your life today, is a cup of coffee with my best friend. It is walking around a botanical garden, knowing that it's okay to do it, and no one, look, you've generally put things in place. So if you're the carer, especially full-time carers, you've put something in place so that you have got the capacity to step away.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't put it in place, find out how you can. Right?
Well,
Who can you ask to come and sit with the person that you generally are on tap for?
yeah. Amy's giving us lots of comments here. Thank you, Amy, very, very much for your input. She's saying that she usually finds time to work on a painting or write for a couple of hours, things that she can walk away from in an emergency, because she's obviously a caregiver for a dementia patient, and it's a wild adventure. Yes,
absolutely.
And boy, do we need a sense of humour as well as a regular release. It's
you need to also be able to feel, and look, it's easier said than done, and I'm as I get affected by it as well, but you need to be able to filter the words being said to you as well, all right, by the person you're caring for, because it's a person that's either elderly or in a situation that they're needing a lot of care. They no longer filter what they say or do. So what you need is a filter so that it's not shooting a barb in your heart all the time. Because it's like, you know, if the listeners have ever had little children, you know, the kid's really angry with you and it's in the heat of the moment and I hate you, Mum, I hate you. Now, once they've said it, they've walked away and forgotten all about it. The mum's there going, oh, my God, my child hates me, you know. So they take it on board. What you need to be able to do is do it with the freedom of childhood, of being able to say things without it being set in stone. So, and as I said, that expression that I use is oh, look, we're twins.
Now,
sorry.
Indeed.
Oh, that was awesome. You need to be able to, like I often say, I love whoever, but sometimes I don't like them.
Yes.
And that's okay, because it's not being negative, it's being very practical. Because if you're saying to yourself, oh, I love this person and I don't, you know, nothing about them ever upsets me, your internal body mechanism is saying, really? Well, what did even happened yesterday, you know, when you were so angry and so hurt and so whatever. So you need to be able to be true to inner self. Now, if you're not true to inner self is confused because they haven't got external things to help them work out what's going on. They're truisms. Your inner feelings are truisms. So you need to couch your language in such a way that you're being truthful to you without being hurtful and creating that negativity. Because remember, they have their friends and they'll just bring them along. Because then you'll self-doubt, self-hate, all these other ones will jump on board and oh, yes, you're hopeless and you never do anything right. And they'll just keep the list going. Flick them off. Gone. Go like that.
Delete.
Yeah, Control-Alt-Delete.
Delete.
Move on, boys. Shut the door slowly on your way out. Yeah.
Amy's saying, and I'm assuming that she's talking about the dementia patients, they also struggle with delusions and the inability to speak what they actually mean.
It's very frustrating. I know my dad's in care at the moment because he was being challenged at home. He'd had a few hospital visits and it wasn't working so well in his unit. So we've got him in respite care. And like he has his own way of expressing himself, and he calls porridge baby food. So he's been asking for his baby food of a morning. Well, they haven't got a clue what he's talking about. So yesterday or the day before yesterday, they gave him scrambled eggs. And I said, well, what did you get? And he said, oh, some lumpy stuff. I'm sitting there going, I wonder what lump, because I knew porridge was on the menu. And I said, what lumpy stuff? So, you know, as his spokesperson, because I'm there to help him cope better as well, I went to the kitchen. I said, look, he's in here for respite. He's a little bit confused. He calls things by the name he knows. He's asking for baby food for breakfast. I said, it's porridge with prunes. Oh, she said, we have that. And I said, I know. So could you put that on his list? So hopefully the last 2 days he's managed to get his baby food. But they didn't have a clue what he was talking about. Didn't have a clue. And I only know because he gets it in a little tub and they mix it up and he calls it his baby food. But, you know, so, and, you know, what can you do to help the person you're caring for the people that are there that when you aren't? Because when you're the carer, you're often the spokesperson. So you're there to stand up for them, to advocate on their behalf, to be to make their journey a little bit easier, even if they don't understand it. And one of the things I did, because again, he's not in his normal environment, I made a sign that just said, "I am vision and hearing impaired. Please speak gently and slowly." Otherwise they're not aware. He looks normal. He looks as though he can see, but he can't. He won't tell them. So yeah. So what can you do to make your life easier in the transition if someone is caring for the person you're caring for?
Amy's saying, great idea. I delight, Marnie. You are very, very practical, and it's
It has
wonderful.
to be. You really do have to be. Now, we've shared this a few times. I'm going to put a picture up in front of my face, and so I can't see over it, sort of. So I'm trying to see whether you can actually see it. Now, this is a sheet that I got a client to make, and on that sheet are 10 things that my client finds starts to lift her life energy. All right. So one of them is smiling. I'll go over here. So learn to smile. Smile in the face of adversity. No one knows why you're smiling, and you never know what it'll do. So again, the smiley face is there. Is there a remedy that you find really helpful that helps you settle, like Rescue Remedy or one of my Connectly for You sprays, or something that you can use for either yourself or the person you're caring for that helps them to feel better? Pat your pet. Where is it here? Have you got a pet? If you haven't got a pet, can you have a photo of a pet? Her grandchildren made her smile, so she put her grandchildren on her. Our little phone a friend here, I'll bring it back to the middle. It could be, is it your doctor? Is it a therapist? Is it just your friend or family that you can ring and just talk to without them having solutions, but being able to express how you're feeling at the time? Because people don't always have solutions for you, but sometimes they give you that capacity to vent or to release the energy out a little bit. So we go the other way. She loves I always get people to have Rescue Remedy on hand because I believe it's brilliant. She likes to do yoga at the beach or Pilates at the beach. So what do you like to do? Is there something you'd like to do? This one here is your favourite food. Now, your favourite food is not kale chips. We've spoken about this before. You might like kale chips, but I hardly think as a child or a young person you were given kale chips as a nurturing food. So what food were you given as a child that made you feel special? Because your brain and your body remembers that feeling of being special. So mine is, and I share quite readily, mine is tinned tomato soup with Vegemite soldiers. I got that when I was feeling unwell. Mum would make me a Heinz tinned tomato soup. And I still quite like that when I'm not feeling overly well. Simple. Maybe it's not the healthiest thing, but it reminds me of being nurtured. The same as the smell of a nice apple pie cooking. It doesn't matter. My mum's, one of her favourite things was a cherry ripe. All right, because she said, if you can afford nothing else as a gift for me, buy me a cherry ripe, because that means you know me and you know I love them. In later life, it became a Bailey's.
Very nice.
Right? Yeah. So, what is it that makes your heart sing or makes you smile when you receive it? Because it triggers that kindness memory and that nurturing memory. What's the other thing? And that was, she had toast and soup as well. So find 10 things. And as I said, none of them need to be expensive. None of them need to be complicated. They're just 10 things that you know personally, because 10 things for you, Annette, would be 10 things different to mine. So what are 5 things that you know make you start to smile again or to lift your energy? So we're talking about if you're starting to have a bit of a downward spiral, which I know you don't get very often, but if you were, what are 5 things that would start you to come up again?
Speaking to someone I haven't spoken to for a while, reaching for the chocolate.
Any particular one, Annette?
Sorry?
Any particular chocolate?
Yes, usually dark, although dark chocolate bullets are very nice. Very nice.
Very nice, yes. I'll take that one, yes.
And I'm into my word puzzles too. So that's something that I really enjoy, or Sudoku, or sitting in the sun.
Singing, I would imagine, is high on your list as well, being able to sing.
That's true. That's true. And interesting, Marnie. I hadn't had a rehearsal for quite some time. And it was so interesting, my response when I knew that, yes, I was going to rehearsal.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
All right. So, as I said, none of them are complicated. Sitting in the sun is just lovely. You know, find a little patch that there's no wind and just sit there and be a cat for 10 minutes. You know, bask in the sun and stretch and get your muscles all motivated and moving and start that smiling muscle as well. Because they're all things to start the process of believing in self and starting to feel better.
Right. Now, Amy is saying rescue remedy is angel scent. She
Absolutely.
swears by it. And Julie likes tea and toast because her grandma used to make it when she was sick.
So that's your feel-good food, Julie. Tea and toast. If you have to take the time out and make yourself a nice cup of tea and a piece of toast with whatever grandma used to put on it for you, your body will come back to that and being nurtured by grandma. Automatically, it's a direct link to your limbic brain, which is your center of emotional contentment and emotional experiences. And what you do when you get there is say, oh, thanks, Grandma, or thanks, Nana, whatever you called her, acknowledge her presence because she'll be around you as well.
Lovely. Now, Amy mentioned rescue remedy, and I know, Marnie, that you have lots of essences that you can send to people. So if people are listening, watching for the first time, they might be unaware of you and your website and the fact
How can that be?
Well, people might need a reminder as well.
They might.
www.kinique, that's KINIQUE.com. Reach out to Marnie. She's a wonderful practitioner and also has lots of remedies, including your book, which is such a practical tool.
Yep, creating calm amid chaos. So how can you do that for yourself? I've just last weekend actually I did one of those trade expos that come up. You know, opportunities come up, so you need to take them when they do because they're a window for you. And they're usually, if you've seen it, they're orchestrated from behind the scenes anyhow, universally by the angels and guides. So I went along and had a fabulous day speaking to people and sharing my myths and my books and some of my tips and tools. And it's uplifting to be able to do it. You come away and you're so pumped. It's great.
That's true. That's true. And see, that's your passion. And we all need passion in our lives. And as someone said recently, we're not necessarily talking about intimate passion. We're talking about what lifts our spirits, what makes us smile instinctively. I know coming on Angel Heart Radio makes me smile.
I love it. Yeah, it's great. Even if I get the time wrong lately. I was only an hour early this time, which is good. So, prepared at least.
That's exactly right. And far better to be an hour early than an hour later.
Which possibly happened at different times. So in Australia we have, what's it called?
Daylight saving.
Daylight saving. So different states have different time zones. And at the moment we're in the same time zone, but my head's still working on an hour space. So, yes, poor old Annette has to have me go, what time is it again?
Well, it's fascinating, Marnie, because some of our people from overseas will have the same situation. And we do have to check, especially when times are changing, those flip over times, because England and America flip, but at different times to us. So I
have a universal clock that I look up on my phone because I used to have to, if my daughter or children are traveling, I like to be able to contact them in real time sort of thing, not in the middle of their night because they're not as happy then.
My brother has 3 clocks on his wall because at one stage he had 2 sons overseas, so they had all the times. It's lovely. I like it when I go into a hotel and they have the world
different times
there, and it's like, it's 7:30 in the evening in Paris or whatever.
So with the 2 visitors that we have on the chat today from overseas, what time is it in their time at the moment?
That's a good question.
So we're in Australia and it's 10:30-ish in the morning on a Thursday.
Yes. So
that's the other thing that does my head in, is knowing that the other thing that does my head in sometimes, knowing that today is now here for me, but it's yesterday for someone else. I go, hey, that's bizarre.
I know, I always say to people, well, enjoy your tomorrow, because we're in there tomorrow. So it's evening, I would say, in Canada, depending on what time, whereabouts in Canada. On the West Coast, it would be 5 o'clock in the afternoon. On the East Coast, it would be 8 p.m. at night.
Oh, right, okay. Yep.
So, fascinating. All right, Julie Kiss is saying it's Wednesday, 8:27 for her.
At
Julie,
night.
for some reason, I thought you were in Australia. You're not. Well done. Oh, and Julie has a question.
Yep.
Woohoo. Any remedies for menopause? Julie is 60 and still having very bad hot flushes. Well, my mother told me once that, you never really get over them. So they can really surprise you. I'm a bit older than 60.
Sometimes you learn to live with them, and some days are better than others.
Yeah.
But look, just remember that, well, I don't know, Julie, if you do this, but, a regular thing that I do even now is stick one foot out of the bed covers. Doesn't matter how cold it is. All of a sudden I go, oh, no, I can't stand this. And one foot goes out. So with that concept in mind, you can always think about using a bit of peppermint oil on your foot, on your ankles, and seeing if that sends some of the coolness up through the body, because the meridian down there will send the energy back up. I felt a lot of my heat in my feet, but it may have been a bit strange. When I first started getting menopause symptoms, I didn't realise that's what it was. I'd be driving and all of a sudden my foot would feel like it had been put in a puddle of hot water. And I said, this is bizarre. And it was only in hindsight a little bit later that I realised that's what it was. So I don't know if it's a common thing for people. But look, being able to stay calm and feel calm is one of the beauties, even if you're having a hot flush. So I've got a remedy that I've got called Creating Calm, and that has white angelica oil as part of its constitution. And white angelica is like that, being given that shield of protection from the angelic realm. So, find something that makes you feel connected or unique is the word coming through, but that might not be the right word for you. And it could be anything, like go to the health shop or go to a natural therapist somewhere and see if they have a range of sprays, and find one that really goes to you. Now, Lang-Lang, Y-L-A-N-G, because sometimes my pronunciation of words are my interpretation of what they should say, but Lang-Lang as an essential oil is balance and harmony. So it's about getting the balance right. So it could be one that could be very beneficial for you. Just don't overdo it, because it's a nice smell, but it can be strong. So filter it down, put it in a little body butter. So go and buy some Lang-Lang from a health food shop. Don't go to Coles or Woolies and get these kind of things. If you're using and to my knowledge, they don't sell Rescue Remedy. If you can buy Rescue Remedy from Coles and Woolies, that's fine. But generally go to a health shop or a chemist. Get a nice body butter and a quality essential oil. You don't want the imitation ones. You want a quality, and you will pay for quality. If it's $2, don't get it. It's not worth it. Okay, and put a couple of drops in the body butter and rub it in, and then when you're using it, put it on your wrists here, or just below, in between your breasts, on that breastbone, on your rib bone in the middle. Put a bit of that body butter on that, and that will start to help restore some equilibrium within self.
Fabulous. And Julie's very, very grateful. Thank you, Marnie. Julie's from upstate New York.
Wow, what an international group we have today. Well done, ladies. That's awesome.
She's good.
Yeah.
Lovely,
now,
lovely.
I drew a card just before too from my angel set, and it's all about secret desire. So it's peach. So that colour peach is very relevant to everyone listening today. So if you haven't got it in your life, you need to introduce it, because peach is that colour in between pink and red. It's that really nice shade. And it's about secret desire. So if you're a carer, you might have a secret desire within that is being stifled by your caring duties. All right. So you need to say to yourself that your dreams and aspirations are not, they're not negated. Like it's not a closed door. It's just shut at the moment. But there could be little things you could be doing to put things in place. And one of them is to share your secret desire, even if it's with yourself in a diary, or just being able to say it out loud. Because when it's shared, even with the universe, it kind of puts it in motion, because it's a statement that you've made, right? So the angels are aware. So they're aware of your innermost dreams and desires, but you need to hand them over for self-keeping. You need to bring them out in the open and state them. So, caring sometimes can seem like a long, and that's what today's topic is about, which is why I'm reiterating this kind of thing, but it can seem like a really long road with not a lot of light at the end. And sometimes it's up to us to make the light. So if your road is long and narrow, imagine that you're on a train journey and the end, it's not about the person not needing your care, because that's another aspect of the caring, which is a bit awkward and hard at times. It's about you seeing that you have still got dreams and aspirations. I'm on a number of forums where people are caring in sometimes very difficult situations for people, and difficult people at a time, like dementia and some of the illnesses that are not pleasant for the person, but they don't always have the knowledge of how they are. It's harder for the family, so just know that your dreams and goals still matter, and write them down. And even if you can take little steps, it might be even just visiting where you've written it down. So, get a page and draw some hearts or stars or fairies or something all over the page, or flowers or whatever, something that's uplifting, and write down that secret desire. Because the angels say when a secret desire is released, it then returns as in heaven sent. So you'll be able to do little bits and pieces towards what you're wanting to do at the other end. And the ladybird is the totem animal. So put a ladybird on there as well.
Is that why I like ladybirds?
Yeah.
They are so gorgeous.
And they're the homebody. Remember, ladybird, fly away home? So they're telling you to go home and be the carer and look after things. But they're about freedom and fun as well, because ladybirds are great fun. You watch them climbing on a leaf and they fall off and they get on another one, and they have a great time.
Amy's giving us some feedback too. It's the strangest feeling when your life is handed back to you after a number of years. Between guilt and exhaustion, you feel this avalanche of dreams and desires, all wanting your attention at once. Trust your angel.
Yeah, trust. But, if you've been writing down some of them, it's not a shock, because you're also experiencing loss, because your time was so consumed caring. And it's the same for volunteers. You can get very caught up in volunteering as well, and it takes over your life. So, there's a little word called no, which is useful to use at times, or not yet, because no doesn't mean never. No just means not at the moment, or just at present I can't do it, or there's not enough information so I can't make a decision. All right, so know that when you use the word no, sometimes it just means no, I'm not doing it, but other times it could be just not at the moment. So give me a break.
Yes, it is. When, especially in a caring role, when somebody passes, or if we've been caring for someone after an operation and they become well, the more time we've devoted, the bigger the hole, the bigger the adjustment. It can be great to say, yes, I've got time to me, but we've been in that routine, haven't we? And
we have, yeah.
It's about shifting out of it.
It's a loss. There's a sense of loss, because the caring becomes not your identity, but your role. So it's as if that's your caring role. And something that you can do to step out of your caring role, especially if you're having your break day. Remember the break day we talked about? Put a different hat on. Put your you hat on. put your, you know, your Melbourne Cup hat on or something. And even if it's metaphysical, it doesn't matter. But all you're doing is swapping hats. So I don't need my care hat today. So today is a me day or a me half day or a me hour. It doesn't matter. It's, yeah, it just has to be sometime.
Well, Amy likes the not yet because she believes it leaves room to breathe as well as to consider.
Yeah. Allows opportunity to come forward that you may not have all the information. So suddenly if you're not yetting, it just means, well, I haven't got it all together yet.
Trusting in the angels, in the universe, in God, whatever our belief system might be, knowing that we are not alone.
Yeah, absolutely. And caring can be a big rabbit hole that you fall down. As I said, on some of the forums that I see, you know, people are, it's all consuming and it takes their entire energy and sucks them dry almost. And they feel very bewildered and very lonely. So loneliness is a big one for someone caring for, especially, and caring can have different shades as well. So you might be a carer but not having to devote your whole time to it. The caring might be like a couple of the ladies on here, a role that you do as a profession. But it doesn't mean when you go home that it's not still connected. So you do need to sometimes have a process of disconnection from your caring role. And you can make that a habitual disconnection. It doesn't mean you don't care anymore. It just means for now it's just not as strong. It's sort of put to one side. So it's not draining your energy. So it's like leaving a bath tap on. All right. So if you turn the tap off, the water's still there waiting, but it's just not running out. So what can you do that sort of just disconnects you from the caring role when you need to let it go for whatever time limit you do? So it could be as simple as doing that. It could be just, these days, washing your hands is driving us all mental. But, you know, washing your hands was another way of doing it. We often were taught to have in between clients was to break the connection from the first client. So you're stepping into the next client's energy, and you do that with a habitual something. So, you know, we've used the Namaste tree before, Annette, on this show, you know, where you hang your cares. So you could have a carer's tree or plant. So when you've left that role for whatever reason, you can place your care onto that plant so it's still connected, but you can walk away from it. You can sort of release yourself a little bit from it.
Right. Yes, we've talked before about whether it be a branch of a tree that you know has been discarded, and we can put our worries, if we like, on there and leave them, and then visit a little while later and see.
Pick them up if we need to, because sometimes the angels have sort of sorted some of them out, or put the solution with the worries. So when you pick it up again, you go, oh, geez, I could do such and such. You know, who's giving you that hint?
Yes, as you said right at the beginning, nothing has to be difficult or complicated. No, let's think of the simple things in life and the simple solutions.
Yeah. You know, I'm watching your earring as we talk. So, you know, can you change your earrings? Not you, Annette.
Oh, hold on, I'll just go and do it.
You know, you might wear certain earrings to work, but when you've left work, I'm going to be a twin again. It's so funny having the same mug. You know, can you change your earrings so that you've got a different energy around this area of your head as well? You know, you might have a fun pair of earrings or a freedom earrings, you know, you make them called freedom or something. So what can you do? So what is in your capacity and what is simple that you know will just allow you to just release that lead just that little bit, so that you can give them a bit of freedom as well from your connection. So look at it that way as well.
And our clothing can, you were talking before about what can we do to lift ourselves if we feel that we're struggling, and be fun with our with our clothing, or bright, put on our favourite colour, or
Colour.
is there something in our wardrobe we haven't worn for a while that lifts our
that you know
spirit?
you love. And remember, whatever you've picked, you've chosen it. So if someone says, oh, that looks great on you, you say thank you. Don't tell them it's your oldest thing and you didn't know what else to wear. You go, oh, thank you so much. I love this.
Mm.
You know, don't discount the value of being grateful as well.
Well, Amy is saying, you're talking about gratitude, huge respect to those who have chosen to be professional carers. My whole heart goes out to you.
Absolutely.
Epic heroes. I have learned so much about caring for someone else and caring for not for myself, caring for just one person full time.
Mm. Yeah, look, it's massive, and they're the ones that need to be able to know there's things that they can do as well. You know, so we're talking about self-care here, but, you know, how can we care for those carers? Because it is a huge job that they take on. And imagine the frustration of their job sometimes. You know, they're dealing with not one, but several people. We're dealing with one generally.
Yes.
You know, but imagine having to rethink or reconnect. They might have 20 people that they're looking after, and they've got to remember the traits and the bits of things going on.
Who has baby food?
Yeah, exactly. I should have put a picture of porridge on the wall.
Julie Kiss is saying, I cared for an elderly lady. She took over my life, my entire life. I did it for 12 years. She passed 4 years ago at 90 years old. She begged me to move in with her. I could not. I had my own family to care for, so she could not go for that. Oh, she couldn't go that far. I felt so bad for her. I could never say no to her. God rest her soul.
Yeah.
That's a big ask, isn't it? 12
Absolutely.
years.
Yeah. Well, you look at the you know, the parents of children with disabilities and their care. Their biggest worry is what happens when I'm gone. It's not you know, they'll put things in place. I know one of Santo's cousins had a severe Down syndrome child, and the child lived in the Down syndrome spectrum kind of thing, and the mothers, they were older parents, and one of their hugest concerns was what was going to happen to this lass when they were no longer there, because they were her full-time carers and advocates and, you know, everything. And they taught her how to count money, so she was able to have money, because we're talking, you know, many years ago, there wasn't always the facilities that there are now for people. So she didn't have a lot of choice in her, like, I don't remember there ever being assisted jobs that she could do and things like that. She did end up passing at quite young, which a lot of children with Downs do. But it was a huge worry to the parents of what could they put in place that made sure their child was okay when they were no longer there, because they couldn't expect the sisters or the brothers to be as full-on caring as they were. So, yes, it's a huge ask. And they say God doesn't give people a job that can't cope, but sometimes it is overwhelming. So you need to support people. You need to have a tribe of support somewhere. And it's not always family, because, you know, you often see where there's one child in a family that becomes the main person, and the others can sort of get away from it, because so-and-so will look after it. It'll be fine. So-and-so will have it. I was at a meeting once, and they said you've always got to have a somebody or someone in your life, because somebody or someone will do it. So you become that someone and somebody. So, you know, find your tribe, find a group, even if it's only 3 or 4 people of different connections that you have as part of your support mechanism, that know and value the work that you do. They can't always step in and help, but they can give you the support, even if it's a pat on the back or sharing a cuppa with you. What is it? You know, is it a radio show like we've got now?
Well, I find this interesting, Marnie, because I do believe that it's all about timing. And Elaine, God bless her soul, Elaine is a newbie to Angel Heart Radio.
Okay,
she's going to have her own show shortly, and she's on with me once a month. Elaine's area expertise is numerology. She loves reading people's numbers. However, today Elaine has tuned in, and it suits her impeccably because her husband is undergoing a procedure, and so she's all ears as to how to care for someone else and also allow time for oneself, because he's obviously going to need a lot of care when he comes home.
And the thing is too, like when you're in a family situation, so my life at the moment, I've got dad at 94 and I've got a new grandson at 12 weeks, right? So that's the spectrum, and then you add into the mix your animals and your pets and your volunteers and all your other bits and pieces. And how do you divide yourself amongst all that? Because, our family live with us and my dad lives not far away. So how do I make sure not just myself is included, but my other parts of the family are included, including the ones that aren't here. So I'll go today after the radio show, I get to have lunch with my husband, and then I go down to one of my other sons and help him with his little ones. But, how do you split your time sometimes? Especially the lady that was saying, she cared for someone else that wasn't family.
Yes.
But you still had your family. So they can't. You've got to come first, and then all the others maybe equal shares. I don't know. It's a really sometimes a hard call. Like, who do you fit in first? Sometimes it's the biggest need. Who has the biggest need, or who has the most urgent need? But then they're all going, me, pick me, pick me.
Well, see, that happens in a family, Marnie, when you have a child who is inflicted in some way, and then, because I know some parents feel guilty, they might be in the hospital with a very sick child, and what happens, the other siblings. I take comfort in the fact that we all, although we've forgotten, but we all do choose when we come into this life and who we come in with. And it's obviously to learn our own lessons. But, some of us have very tricky situations to deal with.
Yeah. And that's where you need your group, you need your tribe. I would say 3. Elaine might tell us how many we need in our tribe as a numerology person. So, there might be a number that's just right. Sometimes it might be just one person that you need.
I would say that it would depend on the individual. Yes, one person might simply have a
capacity to help.
A very big, and others might require a smaller group. Yeah.
And it doesn't, like, don't make that the challenge. That's the other thing. Don't make what you have to do for self the challenge. The challenge is keeping your life energy uplifted enough that your Henry stress bucket does not overflow. That's the challenge. Not have I got the right remedy, or should I be doing X, Y, and Z. Know that it's okay. And it's the same with some of the tips that we talk about, like to recharge self. If you just put your hand across your chest like that, so that your thumb or a finger is touching one of your collarbones, it doesn't matter which one, you'll immediately take a breath, because that's the reset. There's 2 reset points under here. Your hand is a perfect size for your body. So you'll get the point. You don't have to worry. I get clients come back, I couldn't find the right point. Don't worry about that. Make it more simple. Your hand is the perfect size for any point that you need to hold on your body. It'll get the right spot.
Now, Elaine has to go. She was saying 3 people.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying, 3,
Yeah, interesting.
Thank you.
So 3 people with ourselves, that's 4, a nice even number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it just gives you, you're not burdening. Burden's the wrong word too, but you're not outpouring to one person all the time, because that might cause their bucket to overflow. So, be aware of other people's buckets as well. Yes. And just remember too that an environment plays a part in that too. So, if it's really hot weather, are you nurturing yourself by making sure you're having water, or keeping the heat at bay somehow? It could be as simple as putting a washer on your forehead or across the back of your neck. But the hydration is a big factor, so don't allow yourself to be dehydrated. In the colder weathers, the colder climates, are you warm enough rather than too hot? So, you know, what can you do to nurture yourself? Can you wear fluffy slippers? Or, you know, what can you use to keep yourself well? Because, you know, extreme weather is another aspect of stress. It's environmental stress, which you have no control over whatsoever. What you have got control over is what can you do about it.
Now, people are showing their gratitude, Marnie.
Isn't that lovely?
Elaine's
Thank
delighted.
you.
Julie Kiss is saying, I learned so much tonight. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Julie.
And isn't it wonderful, because we had all of this input. Thank you, Julie, thank you, everybody, for your input. It really adds to the show.
It does. We love talking to our visitors, don't we? And
absolutely, yes. This is a show I will certainly recommend, and that's the beauty of Facebook, because, Marnie, you can do the same if you like, putting it up on our Facebook, own personal spaces and encouraging people to listen, because I think self-care is something that really does slip down the ladder.
And it obviously, you know, twigged a memory from everyone that joined in. So it's very much a topic of need. And look, in the times that we've been through in the last couple of years too, you know, self-care is very much on the top front. There's a lot of fear and anxiety about. I ask people to be mindful rather than fearful. So, you know, if you're worried about something or thinking about a condition or something, be mindful about it. What can you do about it? What steps can you take to help yourself cope better, rather than being fearful of an outcome? You know, so if you put all your energy into worrying about something that hasn't yet eventuated, you're giving away a lot of your free energy. So what you need to be able to do is say, yes, I can be concerned or mindful, and if something turns up, well, then I can deal with it. Because if you're then facing something, if your stress bucket is so full from worrying about what might, could, would, or should happen, it's not leaving you much capacity to cope or a capacity to have a solution-based response. So.
Absolutely. Now, Amy is saying she was so delighted to be here, and thank you for raising the topic. And she's going to check out your website. I want to remind people, Marnie, that it's www.kinique, KINIQUE.com. So please go and visit that. And Belinda Brown has been listening. God bless you, Belinda. She's not feeling too well.
Oh, so that's not good.
Pamper yourself, Belinda.
Don't have a bubble bath.
Make sure that you look after you so that you can look after that gorgeous family of yours.
Yeah.
So Amy's put your website up there. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Amy. You're better than me. I can't do that while I'm on the show.
Very, very good.
So just remember, there's Angel Heart Radio Facebook page. There's Connect Kinesiology Facebook page. So, you know, you'll find us in a lot of places.
Yes. Yeah.
And I can post, Amy. I have the capacity to post things wherever. So if you need anything. So.
Right. Gorgeous. Well, thank you, Marnie, and thank you so much to our audience, whether it be live or watching down the track. Know that it really is important that we look after ourselves.
Remember yourself,
we can look after others to our best ability. So even if it's only 5 minutes.
Yep. There's a great book that the children read, and it's called 5 Minutes Peace, and it's about an elephant mum who wants 5 minutes peace. And she gets 3 minutes and 45 seconds, and that's her lot. But it's great if you get the chance to find this book. It's a children's book. I've got no idea who the author is, but it's called 5 Minutes Peace, and it's about an elephant called Mrs. Large. So Google it, and the name of the actual name of the book will come up. So if you're not alone.
Well, no, absolutely. All right, so make time for yourself and enjoy what you do, especially if you're reaching out and caring for others. Make sure that it's with a smile on your face and bring the laughter into a situation. I know dealing with dementia is not fun.
No.
Hazel Hawke's daughter Susan, when she wrote the book about dealing with her mum's situation, and humour, it just has to be up there.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's a blessing sometimes when you realise with someone with dementia or Alzheimer's is they're not at risk of feeling unwell because they don't realise. It is the family that take all of that burden, because the person with it just hasn't got the capacity to know anymore. And that doesn't help sometimes, because you forget that part of it and you get frustrated. Why can't you remember?
Keep that sense of humour.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Make sure that you enjoy every moment. Let's make a difference and spread the love in this world.
Thank you, Annette.
Much love to you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye-bye.